Jasmine.
And I'm Chris.
Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're sharing with you 4 super simple vegan recipes that are perfect for game day.
Whether you're vegan or not, we promise you'll love these recipes, and all of them will be ready in under an hour.
So without further ado, let's get into the video. So the first thing we're making today are 4 ingredient pesto pinwheels, and these are really easy to prepare, and I think that everybody's going to love them. So for this recipe we need pesto, and a lot of store-bought pestos are actually not vegan because they typically have dairy in them from the addition of cheese. So today I'm going to be showing you how to make a dairy-free version. There are some pestos available at some stores that don't have cheese in them, but just in case you can't find one near you, I'm going to show you a quick and easy way to make it. And I'm going to be using pine nuts today simply because honestly I had them in the pantry. I usually use almonds or sunflower seeds. I will have that all in the recipe notes in the recipe link down below. But you don't have to use pine nuts. I know that they can be expensive and some people prefer to use a nut-free option. So sunflower seeds work well, almonds work well. I will have all the details linked down below. To my food processor, I'm adding in some pine nuts, some lemon juice. I have nutritional yeast, which is our substitution for cheese in this, and I'll give it that nice cheesy flavor. You can also use a store-bought vegan Parmesan as well. Some garlic cloves, and then I also have some fresh basil, and mine's looking a little sad, but it's all good. It's still gonna be tasty, and it's still gonna work really well. So I'm gonna pulse everything until it is well combined and coarsely ground, which is gonna take about 30 to 60 seconds. If you need to, scrape down the sides just in case anything rises up. If you can make fresh pesto, I would suggest making it fresh unless you can find somewhere that makes it pretty fresh for you because it's just so much more flavorful. And it's like, it smells so good. I want you to smell this right now. It's gonna be so cool when the future of YouTube is smell-o-vision. I'm waiting for it, I'm counting on it. Okay, so it is nice and coarsely ground now. What I'm going to be doing is adding olive oil now. And the way that I'm gonna do this is I'm going to turn the food processor on high and I'm going to add in the olive oil just a little bit at a time. I'm gonna slowly drizzle it in until I've added a full ½ cup. All right, it looks beautiful. Again, I wish you could smell this. It smells nice and fresh. And the last thing that I'm going to do is just add a nice pinch of salt. And then I also am going to add a little bit of pepper as well. And just pulse that in until it's combined. You don't really need to mix it too much. We have ourselves a beautiful vegan pesto ready to be used. So I'm gonna set this aside. Next up, I'm taking some crescent rolls, and these are actually accidentally vegan, and this is the Pillsbury brand. I know Trader Joe's has their own as well, and then I think Simple Truth and Kroger might have one as well too. I hate opening these things. I don't know about you. They like give me the chills. It freaks me out. What? Got it. Ooh, okay. So as you know or may not know, probably know though, crescent rolls come pre-cut into triangles. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually going to form 2 triangles into a square, and we're gonna use that to make kind of like mini cinnamon rolls, the way that we're gonna roll it up. So the way I'm gonna do this is I'm gonna place this onto here, and as you can see, there is a cut in the middle. So we're going to seal that as best we can. Make sure you really work it in because you don't want this to open up when you're rolling up your rolls, rolling up your pinwheels. There you go. This reminds me of okay, I'm sorry, I'm stopping. Next, I'm going to take the pesto that we just prepared and I'm going to spread some of that into the dough. Next, I have some roasted red peppers. I just bought these in a jar, but you could totally make them at home if you'd like as well. I also finely chopped them, or I would say roughly chopped them, because they were in huge chunks before, and I don't want them to be that big because it might be harder to roll. Last but not least, I'm going to add some vegan cheese on top. I'm going to take clean hands, and we're going to very tightly, or as tight as we can, roll this dough up. Then I'm just going to take a knife and cut these into 4 pieces as evenly as possible. Now I'm just going to put all the rolls onto a lined baking sheet and pop this into the oven to bake until golden. The next thing I'm making is French bread pizza, and what I love about this is, well, for one thing, it's pizza and I love pizza, but another thing is very thick and very hearty. I am team thick crust when it comes to pizza. I don't like thin crust, don't come at me. And this really satisfies my cravings with that, and it's a lot simpler to work with, and it's just really good. So the first thing that we're going to do is cut our French bread, and we're gonna toast it up in the oven. So I have my beautiful French bread here. Just going to cut it as evenly as I can. Since this is very fluffy and very moist, we want to toast it up in the oven just to remove some of that moisture and also so that it doesn't turn soggy when we add our sauce and our toppings. Next, I'm taking some olive oil and I'm going to generously brush my French bread with some oil just to help it get nice and toasty. All right, then we're gonna flip these, cut side up, and do the same thing. I'm going to just give it a nice coat of some olive oil. Okay, I'm going to pop these into the oven and toast them up just for a few minutes until it becomes nice and toasty and it dries out a bit. Okay, as you can hear, these are nice and toasty, just how we want it. We're gonna keep these pizzas very simple, very straightforward. I'm just going to dress them up with some pizza sauce, and we just use store-bought pizza sauce, but if you are looking to make pizza sauce at home, I will link a recipe down below for you to check out. And the pesto that we used in the pinwheels, you can also use those on this as well. I think that'll be very tasty. I'm just gonna keep it classic today. Also curious to know who you're rooting for the Super Bowl and what you are making, if you're making any other recipes, or if your family has a traditional recipe that you always make. I know some people have recipes that they make if they want their team to win. It's like a good luck charm. Let me know if you have any of those. I've seen a few of my friends back home do that, and I like that idea. I don't know what we ate when the Dodgers won, but whatever it was, I'll figure it out and I will make sure to make that every year. So hopefully they win again, and the Lakers too. I'm from LA if you didn't know or if you didn't figure it out. So now I'm adding some vegan cheese on top. Be very generous with your toppings because the crust on this is quite thick, so you just want to make sure there's enough toppings to crust. You want to make sure the topping to crust ratio is balanced. The last thing I'm adding is some vegan pepperoni, and I like to pan fry my vegan pepperoni just a little bit just to get it that nice deep red color. Some vegan pepperonis honestly look a little like plastic, so we want to just make it a bit more aesthetically pleasing. Honestly, that wasn't fully necessary, but I think it looks a lot better. I'll show you before and after on the screen of the unfried pepperoni and then the fried pepperoni. I'm going to pop these into the oven and cook them through, allow the cheese to melt, and I'll see you in a few minutes. Actually, like a second for you. All right, the pizzas are done, and as you can see, they didn't melt that much, but it's vegan cheese, so I didn't expect it to. I'm adding on some vegan Parmesan cheese, just a little bit. And then to brighten it up a bit, I'm going to be adding some fresh basil on top as well. That's it. Our French bread pizzas are done, ready to be devoured, and let's move on to the next recipe. Next up, I'm going to be putting together a 7-layer dip. So for this dip, the first thing I'm going to do is prep the meat. And this is actually a recipe from my mom. I grew up eating this and we were able to make a 100% plant-based version of it. And it's really what makes this dip extra special. I heated up some oil in a pan and I'm going to add in some onions. We're gonna let these cook for a couple of minutes. Next to this, I'm going to be adding in some cilantro. And for the cilantro, we do the leaves and the stems. The stems are full of flavor and they are edible, and we just don't want to waste them, and they're just really great in this recipe, so I'm going to pop those in. And then we also have some plant-based ground beef. Going to break that up with my spatula, and I am going to be using garlic powder in this recipe, but if you would like to add fresh garlic, I would add that now as well. And then I'm going to add in some taco seasoning. You can make your own blend, but we just have a store-bought here just to keep it simple. And I'm also adding in some garlic powder like I mentioned earlier. We have 2 more ingredients, and these are the star ingredients of the recipe. This is really what makes it tasty and delicious, and it really makes it unique. So I'm adding in some Mexican beer and some tequila. And if you don't want to cook with alcohol, I totally understand. I'll link an alternate recipe down below. I'm going to cover this up, allow it to simmer, and basically cook off all the liquid, cook off all the alcohol, and then we'll have ourselves a delicious vegan taco meat. All right, our vegan taco meat is done. I'm going to set this aside and get all of my other ingredients ready, and then we're going to assemble the dip. So to my dish, I'm going to add a layer of refried beans, homemade guac, vegan sour cream, some salsa, the taco meat that I just prepared, vegan cheddar cheese, and for the 7th layer, I know there's quite a few things here, but we have lettuce, tomato, red onions, olives, and cilantro. So this is what the final dish looks like. I'm really proud of this. I'm really excited to dig into this. And I wanted to mention, feel free to change up the layers as you see fit. Feel free to get all of the ingredients store-bought or make it all from scratch, whatever floats your boat. I am going to link all of the things that we use for this down below, and I'll also link some relevant recipes as well. I hope you enjoy this. I hope this is the perfect dish for you to enjoy during the big game. And let's move on to the next recipe. The last thing we're making today are these jalapeno popper rolls. They're super easy to make. So in a bowl, I'm going to mix together some vegan cream cheese along with some vegan shredded cheese, some jalapenos, of course, and some vegan bacon. Mix that together until everything is well incorporated and everything is well combined. And then we're going to set that aside. Next, we're taking some crescent rolls, and these are accidentally vegan, believe it or not. What I'm going to do is unravel the rolls and form them into one large rectangle. I'm going to use my fingers to mend the seams together. Spread the cream cheese filling onto the dough in an even layer, leaving about an inch on the sides, and then roll that up tightly. And then we're going to slice the dough into rolls using a sharp knife. And I'm going to repeat this with a second set of dough. So you don't see it on camera, but that's why I'm going to have 12, just in case you're wondering. I'm going to transfer my rolls to a greased baking dish, and then I'm going to take a sheet of parchment paper, place that on top, and gently press them down so that they are nice and even. Remove the parchment paper and then pop these into the oven to bake until nice and golden. While those bake, I'm going to prepare a cilantro lime sauce. So in a bowl, I'm mixing some vegan sour cream with garlic powder, cilantro, green onions, salt and pepper, and lime juice. Mix that together until it is well combined, nice and smooth. And once the rolls are popped out of the oven and nice and cooled, I'm going to generously drizzle the cilantro lime sauce over the rolls. And that's it. We really hope you enjoy this recipe as much as we did. And as always, the full recipe will be linked down below. Thank you all so much for watching.
We hope you enjoyed this video.
If you did, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing down below.
And let us know your favorite recipe from today, and also whether you're going to be watching the game or you're just going to be watching the commercials.
Or you're just going to be eating all the snacks.
That's probably going to be us.
Also, make sure you leave a comment down below if you have any game day traditions or any meals that you like to make when your team is playing for good luck. I mentioned that in the video, but I wanted to say it again because I'm curious.
Go Yankees.
Go Dodgers. Baseball, football, sports.
Sports, go sports.
That is all from us. We will see you soon. Bye.
Was that okay?
Why'd you just leave?
It was funny.